The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind, it is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling.
I can only show you the door.
To awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
At a
Train
tipping.
can't be stopped. Time is already here.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind, it is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling.
I can only show you the door.
To awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
At a
Train
tipping.
can't be stopped. Time is
Right?
already here.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind, it is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling.
I can only show you the door.
To awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
At a
Train
tipping.
can't be stopped. Time is
Right?
already here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to The True Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. It's been a little while, taking a back seat for the past week, 2 weeks, a little bit like that. Just been going over a lot of, well, there's just been going a lot's been going on in the background since the last podcast. I think that was with Freedom Man. I think Freedom Man came on and called in. Oh, by the way, I think that was used last time. What's the number? I've been forgetting the phone number. I know I posted it. Give me a second here, y'all. And I thank y'all for tuning in. I know I'm starting a little early. I think what I'm going to start doing is actually try and the shows are about 5:30 during the week. And the scheduling for shows is going to change as well. slightly. Because today, what's today? Today's Wednesday, and for the past couple weeks, I started a online Bible study, right? And I'm trying to merge that together with an online presence as well as a in-person presence for those that would be able to come and participate. And it's not your typical Bible study. It's not how do I say? Oh, Becca, thank you so much for the stars and thank you for tuning in. I see you. Salute. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Wow. That's another thing too. Like I think I see sometimes people send stars, but I don't. For whatever reason, sometimes it doesn't show on the platform chat that I use uh, when I could see all the comments coming in either from YouTube, X, formerly known as Twitter, or Rumble, or Facebook. I don't see them until like afterward, but I happen to see that now. But it doesn't actually show me on on the actual streaming platform that I'm for whatever reason. It shows the name, like someone's name will pop up, like, but it won't like show any words or anything like that. It won't show anything until I actually go to the, I don't know, whatever media that it's being posted on, and then I can see it. Typically it's through Facebook. You can get stars through Facebook, I think. I haven't started. I think it takes some time in order to in order to accept certain things, whatever. People can send, donations, I guess, through YouTube, I think X, Facebook. I haven't and maybe I should, but that's a whole other topic. I don't even really want to get into that because that's I mean, it's kind of like redundant in a sense. On one hand, yeah, I mean, doing this podcast, you try and want to make something from it so that you can do it more and be more involved. Because I mean, to be honest with you, I would love to do this every day. I would love to do this every day. I would love to get guests on here every single day, like really, and I have had a lot of good guests, a lot of good stories, a lot of good, there's been interesting people to talk to, interesting things to talk to, and but the big part of it, like the bigger part of that is like I want it to be, I guess, a big part of it is faith focused, right? But I'm aligning that faith focus also with the times of the world and also people's testimonies and stories, you know what I'm saying? And it's been a task to focus that. So I guess I'm going on on a rant here. So when I see the exception of sending stars and all that stuff, I think it's money, basically. And Meta pays you at the end of the month or whatever. I guess it accumulates over the month. It's a platform where there's a potential of income. I mean, obviously, it's nothing. It buys coffee. I'm cool with that. I'm not looking to become a millionaire off of podcasting. I mean, God willing, if that's in the plan, then so be it. But the focus for me anyway is not so much money motivated, as far as like I just want to do good at podcasting, not just at podcasting, but talking about faith focused things like scripture, like God, and like the world, and also hear people's testimonies of their lives or the struggles that they're going through. Like, for instance, for example, Becca Ray, I'm going to use you for an example. Your story, with your children and all that stuff. I mean, that was and a lot of people gravitated towards that story, based on comments over various platforms, and I also have to be better on making reels about things like these too. Like, when you make like 60-second, 30-second reels, that draws people in to the story and they want to hear more. So I mean, this is basically a one person operation, and anything does help. Any donations, and I don't really talk about donations or anything like that, or I don't even talk about money on here, because I don't want to steer somebody away, like, oh, he's just focused on, someone take it out of context and say like, oh, I don't know, maybe it's not that, maybe it's like, I don't know, I just don't focus on talking about that part of it, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes here and there, I'll say like, hey, people could donate to the Cash App. The Cash App is $TRU Norseman Crafts, True Norseman Crafts. It's called True Norseman Crafts because I also do horn crafts, which is another part of my life that I haven't actually promoted enough. I mean, I haven't. I've been very bad at promoting any of my art on the side on this podcast. It's mainly been focused on, talking about scripture. And that's my point. Like, I've been mainly focused on just talking about either scripture or having conversations with people, or talking about the world and talking about the things that are going on, like artificial intelligence, Islam and Christianity and Judaism, Trump, the Charlie Kirk assassination, global assassinations, basically, conspiracy theories, all of that stuff, witchcraft, esoteric stuff. I had a guy on here. His name's Mecca. I mean, basically, he represents the nation of gods and earths, and I wanted to talk to somebody that I've actually been wanting to talk to somebody for a really long time that comes from that perspective of a belief system, I guess you could call it that. It's kind of like a remnant of it's like I guess you would say it's a denomination of the Nation of Islam, but because some of their teachings come from the Nation of Islam, but they don't practice what the Nation of Islam practices. But there are some teachings that come from the Nation of Islam, and then the Nation of Islam is its own denomination apart from Islam. So, so I've already had someone on here by the name of Mecca. I forgot the episode number, but it was a little while back. I'll have him on again. He's reached out. He's been wanting to come back on. And I do want him back on. But there's just some stuff from the nation. From the Nation of Gods and Earths that are like, it's there's a wild belief historically on this character called Yaakov. And I don't want to get too far into it because this will take up the whole show, and that's not the focus. This is my ADHD. See, this is what happens. I go and I talk about something. But if you're new to the show, that's how it goes. And if you're familiar to the show, this is just hey, Christine, God bless you, Becca Ray, everyone that's tuned in. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let me see if I'm checking the lives really quickly because I just want to make sure that Rumble's up. Rumble's been a little funky with me lately. And the thing about Rumble, like, I actually have to buy into the not currently, like, Rumble's free to broadcast from. But if I want to, yeah, I'm on there. Okay. It's probably going to get loud for a second. I apologize. Yeah. So I'm live on Rumble. Good. The only way that I can schedule in advance on Rumble so people can see like the thumbnail, that a prepared thumbnail that comes up, say like, it's going to be broadcasting on November 19th, right? Today. Well, I can't do that. It has to be the day of. Rumble won't let you do it in advance. I don't know why. Every other platform allows you to do it in advance. So I don't know what the problem is with I mean, Rumble has their own thing. I'm not whatever, I'm not the owner of Rumble, so I can't really complain. I'm grateful that I'm able to be on the platform as is, but it just seems to be, I think that's just kind of petty. But anyway, I can't put it in advance on Rumble for whatever reasons. I can put it in advance on the platform that I'm using the day of. So it creates a little bit of an issue because if I do everything in advance, I can't do it for Rumble. I have to go back into Rumble and then put the streaming key and the RTMP code and all that stuff the day of that I'm going to go live. And I think that recreates a secondary event page, especially for Facebook. I don't think it does for the other platforms, but for Facebook, I think it does. And I don't know. I don't think it causes a whole load of confusion, but I don't know. Maybe in the future, I'm gonna have to buy into it. But at the moment, the only thing that I'm actually really paying for out of pocket, as far as on the platforms go, is X, because you can't go live on X unless you pay the $8 for the blue check. So I've been doing that. It helps a little bit through the algorithm, kind of, but I also have to pay for the platform that's broadcasting all this out. I don't know. Listen, this is nothing. This doesn't mean anything to any of y'all, of course. I'm not saying this to. I'm just, because we were talking about donations. Someone sent the stars and all that stuff, and that accumulates, currency over some of the platforms. And I don't talk about a lot of the stuff that I do on the side that I should be promoting on here. I do horn crafts, you know what I'm saying? Drinking horns and stuff like that. I don't make them, but I clean them up. I make them look nice. And for a while, I was doing like horn stands for them. A lot of people, there's a few people out there. If you go to the Instagram page, True Norseman Crafts, TRU Norseman Crafts on Instagram, you could see a whole line of photos. Matter of fact, let's see if I'll pull that up just so I'll just show it. Because you know what? I don't promote none of this enough, and I think I should give a little bit of shine to some of the stuff, because maybe people will be interested in, buying some, right? I mean, people, they were going off. I mean, they were definitely coming off my shelves when I first started it about, I think it was during COVID. It was like it was basically at the height of COVID. And I started it, you know what I mean? I invested quite a bit of money into putting it together, but a lot of it just was basically handcrafted, right? And pennies from heaven, my pastor calls it. Yeah, shout outs to Christine. Yeah. God bless you too. So I don't promote enough of the stuff that I do on the side that would help bring in some revenue towards the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Towards the podcast, because there's some investments that I want to make into it to make this better. And I want to be more present. So there is an eventual plan to try and focus 100% of my time, aside from being a father and and family and working and all that stuff. But I focused like 100% of my time to where I could do this a few times a day rather than, once or twice a day, spotty here and there, because I'm literally working around a schedule of being a family man and working a regular shift, a regular job. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that's the dynamic. That's the obstacle, rather. Not obstacle. The family part isn't an obstacle. The job is always an obstacle. Let me share this Instagram of mine. Here we go. So yeah. So a lot of these photos are. Is that showing up on screen? Oh no, it's not showing up. Hold on. Here we go. Sorry about that. All right. So this is showing up. So this is the True Norseman Crafts Instagram page. By the way, go follow. Give that some more followship. But a lot of these pictures. So see, like, let's see if I can show this video.
Listen, get yourself a drinking horn stand. That's what I'm making right here.
Sorry, that's probably super loud for everybody. But yeah, so what I'm doing right here, what I did was I would take these trees, I would cut small tree logs, right? And and look, this is eventually this is what it would become. And this right here, this is a wolf. So I would take a wolf stencil, right? And burn it into the I have a burning, I forgot what it's called. I think it's like a burning pen. So I would sand these down, gloss them up. Well, first I would sand them down, create this hole, drill a hole, make a hole out the other end, and then the drinking horn itself would be able to sit in there, right? This is another one. So I would burn these in there, right? That's like a Celtic symbol. Some of them I would actually leave half bark on, which came out really dope. I loved it. And listen, this is all. Some of this was like, I think that's like a wolf foot or a bear foot. I'm not sure, but that's all burnt in right there. This I was trying to do. What do you call coasters? And I could still make those. I still have the capability of making coasters. Excuse me. But this right here in the background, this cup is a drinking horn cup. That's about, I don't know, I think that holds maybe 30 ounces, give or take, roughly. They're approximate, by the way, too, because this is all real horn. So nothing is like exact, but right around the area. And these are some of the bags that we would use. But that's like a coaster. I was just taking photos. I think actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think that came with the. So some of them I would put a coaster, like you would buy a coaster or coasters with a cup or two cups. So this is another one right here. I actually think I still have this. Someone I'm gonna have to reach out to her because this was a while back that this was bought, if I'm not mistaken. But you see, like I left the tree bark on half of it. Some of them I did half of it like that. I think I was trying to just go through different ideas, and some of the wood that I was cutting had like these almost birthmark type like things on it, which I thought was really unique, and I would just burn these, take the stencils, draw them on there a little bit with a pencil somewhat, and then just burn into it and then create these all of this right here. I made that for my good friend Erac. I believe this was his. So this right here. So because he's a hip hop artist just like me. So that's another thing that I'm involved in too, or have been involved in. It's been a long time since I've been able to get around putting some music out. But right here, this microphone, like this is all a stencil right here. That's all a stencil right here. And I think I believe right here is his name in the back. I don't know if there it is. So he goes by Rat Castle. So that's, and some of them, this one was probably bigger, like the stand itself, this tree stump stand was slightly bigger than the horn. So probably a bigger horn could have fit in there. But also on the end of, I don't know if I have a shot of that. Do I? No, I don't. I don't think I took one. Maybe I have another photo. But at the end, right here, I really love the tree stump stands that I would make that had like the knot. I always would try and look for those like in the woods or something like that. I would cut it up. I would go randomly to some local parks and stuff to see if there were any downed trees, or not downed trees, but like downed. They wouldn't be very big. It would probably be as wide as that, where the saw is right here, like something like that. Like this is what. So I did this, and that's what I would do. So I think I was making coasters with this piece of wood right here. This one was really dope because, and this sold so quickly. I didn't even want to let this one go, but it had like a scaly snakeskin type of texture to it, like legitimate texture to it. With it came with it comes so, and that's another thing too. Like a lot of the horns I would try and sell with the actual stand, although it'd be a little bit more pricier to do that. You could buy the horn separately without one, but I would always try and market it with these stands. Now, these stands aren't exactly easy to make, but they're not hard to make. So, and this is like, right here, this is just the website right here. All of these cups. I still got quite a few different types of these. I got what I haven't shown on here. Okay, so these are big. These are like the really big ones. At the time, these prices have changed, by the way. But at the time, that was the price. They've probably gone up about $10 or so since then. But anyway, I called these at the time. I was calling. Well, these are called the Odins. So yeah. So another thing too. I know I talk about a lot of scripture on here. And so I want to clarify for anyone that would consider buying a drinking horn and all that stuff. My ancestral background, if we would call it that, is Celtic. So it would be, why can't I hold on a second here? I'm trying to get out of this. Here we go. So I'm Irish, right? And Irish people, we typically have a relationship with Viking culture because of the battles that both of these people have fought. And Vikings are pretty much Celtic also, based on their ancestral symbolism and belief systems. And back then, I personally don't practice any of those things. I've never practiced any of those things for them, from what I recall anyway, like not on purpose or anything like that. Like, but obviously Celtic people back then, before they were saved, right, were pagans, and they did a lot of animal sacrifices, just like the Israelites did during the Old Testament and all that stuff. A lot of people during the Old Testament, they were doing a lot of pagan type sacrifices. So they had different gods, Odin, Freya, and the god of love, and Odin being basically their version of God, right? So I would still take from those, and this was also when I created True Norseman Crafts. It wasn't really at the time when I was fully immersed into Scripture to a wisdom point of understanding, I guess. And I'm not saying I'm there entirely, but I'm definitely much further along than I was then. But still, I used the play on words of Odin, calling certain cups Odin, because it's a mirror effect of where the culture comes from, of where primarily where you would see drinking horns coming from, and it wasn't just unique to Viking culture, but it was something very much present in their culture during those times. I would even say that during Christ's time, he probably may have drank from like a horn type trinket or something along those lines, based on because I don't think it could have been bronze too, but I doubt it. It because we have to remember that when Yeshua was here, he was poor. He wasn't a rich man financially. Neither were the disciples. So they were likely drinking from something that was out of probably clay. Actually, I should correct that. But I wouldn't doubt that he probably would have drank from a horn type cup. It wasn't uncommon, and it wasn't a sinful thing to do that either. So it was just part of the world. But anyway, that's True Norseman Crafts. I'll put that back up on the screen real quick. That's True Norseman Crafts. So anybody can go to Instagram.com/True Norseman Crafts. Check it out. I still have horn cups. I still have horns. I still have the capability of making stands that I am in the planning of restarting. So make an order. Make an order. Hit me up either on Facebook. You can also email me. I would email the True Perspective at gmail.com. I would probably do that. Or if you have me on Facebook, hit me up on Facebook on the inbox. Hit me there. Or the Instagram page. And, send a message. Say, hey, I want one of these. And how do I get one? And I will walk you through that part if you're interested. Because a lot of these, I mean, they were just flying out of my hand. As soon as I got them, people were getting them, and especially the ones with like multicolors and all that stuff. The horns were beautiful, and I have many of them, different ones. Some of them aren't even online yet. And I have these big tall ones that, I mean, they basically are the ones that I was showing. Where were they? Where was it? So these ones right here. Oh no, not these ones. But I still have these ones. Again, the prices will slightly change. These are older prices, pre Biden administration. And so don't pay attention to the price. I'm gonna have to change those eventually. But yeah, this right here, this is like the biggest one that we have. It's basically a what do you call when you go to a pub or when you go to a bar and you order, what do you call it? I'm a loss of words. It's how long it's been since I've had to order or something like that. A pitcher. So this is like a pitcher sized mug, and they're gorgeous. I'm telling you, they're gorgeous. You would want one. You do want one. You want to drink from something natural. You know what I mean? Natural. You want to drink from something natural, and you could drink pretty much anything out of them. I don't recommend putting super scalding hot stuff into them. One, because they are organic, and at the bottom there is they're sealed. You know what I'm saying? So basically, they're cut right here. They're split. And then the top of the horn is basically the bottom of the cup. And that's sealed with a PVC, non-abrasive, non-toxic plastic. Sometimes it's an actual horn cap, and it's sealed with a food grade epoxy to same thing like any cup that's made. And it's sealed, so like you don't want to when you heat it, it can kind of warp in, and then it just destroys it. So you don't want to do that. Don't microwave them, and don't dishwash them, because you will ruin them. And that's about it. So yeah, anyone that's interested, make an order. I'll put a package together for you. I'll make a deal with you. First one that buys this. By the way, I mean, Christmas is coming. Make an order. So yeah, this is. So I'm just explaining all of this because I don't promote enough on this podcast at all about any funding, about any donations that people could do. Buy a coffee, whatever. It all listen. It all goes towards the progression of this podcast to get to be more efficient at it, to make more content, to make better content, and to I mean, it helps. It helps keeps the equipment going. It helps keeps the platform itself paid for, basically. Anything helps. Honestly, anything does help. But don't go about your way on breaking a wallet. I don't want that. I'd rather you not do that and hold on to that, because they're and God bless them, because in the past, this is prior to actually really going in on the podcast, I actually took a long break because I had like a sewage issue last year. And I don't even think, I mean, I've said it publicly, but I never made like anything, um, like an actual segment directly about this. But a lot of people had come through who I didn't even really know, um, like through a GoFundMe, and then also through like Cash App or whatever, and other means of sending some type of financial help toward getting a sewage issue that I was going through and fixing. I had to dig up like I don't know, it was probably about a 25-foot trench from the back of my house all the way to the front to the street, and it went like, I don't know, gradually went into 14-foot ditch. And I had to make, and I just tore everything up because I had to. I mean, unfortunately. And this was like a first experience of home ownership, and this was the first, I hadn't discovered the issue up until everything was signed. And anyway, I don't want to get too far into the details of that, but people actually came through, and like, some people were saying like, hey, this is like my last. And I was just telling people like, look, don't do that. Don't give me your last few dollars that will get you through a day for food or something like that. Like, don't do that. Even so, some people I didn't even accept it. I was like, I can't accept this, because don't tell me that that this is your last whatever. Because I'd be wrong to accept that. You know what I'm saying? Um. Anyway, so it's appreciative. So, and I don't promote enough of like time, like ways to donate towards it. I just don't, because I don't want to sound like a panhandling beggar. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not against anyone out there holding a sign, because some people are out there are legitimate doing that. But that's not what I'm trying to portray here. But anyway, I've talked probably more than I needed to about donation. But if you do want to send donation towards the podcast, you're more than welcome to do so. You could do it at Cash App money sign, True Norseman Crafts. You can also order any drinking horned mug, and you would send it through Cash App, True Norseman Crafts, or PayPal, True Norseman Crafts at gmail.com. Any questions or concerns, you can definitely hit me up. You can inbox me. Also, I think I was looking for a phone number for the damn call-in, wasn't I? I'm pretty sure I was earlier. Hey Auntie, yes, I will give my little guy a kiss, and tell him that Auntie is saying hello. He's upstairs right now running around. I can hear him. Shout outs to all y'all for tuning in. Where does the number that I could have sworn I put the number in the. Sorry about this, y'all. Hold on a second, because I thought I put the number on the page. I'm just gonna look at my phone, because I don't remember. I haven't memorized it. It's a brand new thing. It's obviously. Oh, you know what? I would have to turn it on too, wouldn't I? Wow. Excuse me. Here we go. Turn off. Where the heck's the number? Here we are. 401-753-9940. So anyone can call in. I'll take call-ins right now while I'm streaming if you want to. But I do want to get some topics out and talk about those. But let me try and post this. Let's see. 401. What did I say? 401-753-9940. We are live across all platforms. So it's out there. And I'll show it on screen right there. Oh, let's do this. What did I say? 401-753-9940. Call in now. All right, so I'll put that on screen. Damn, I'm so underprepared today. I apologize, everybody. I gotta connect to the Roadcaster. I think we're good whenever that comes through. Yeah, so I created a phone number for people to call in on certain podcasts, certain streams, so they can, because I want more interaction. You know, I know people comment, which is good. Comments are good. Comments help. Sharing it definitely helps. Telling people about it helps. But you know, calling in, if you've got topics to talk about, a question, whatever that's being said, then yeah, let's talk about it. Some of the topics I want to try and get to is digital ID, Islam, Trump, Epstein files. Damn, I spelled that wrong. Charlie Kirk. So there are some things that have been going on. Digital ID is like it, and I know I talked about this last time, but it's making its way. It's making its way here. I mean, it's already under. Actually, Libby. Shout outs to Libby because she made a video recently. I'm gonna go to her page real quick because she does really good work on, you know, making things known. I gotta go to her page. So Libby, and her page is lady.liberty.libby. She's live right now. She looks like she's live right now. This is it right here. So I want to play this. Oops. Why is that so damn loud? Or is that just me? It's probably me. All right. Let's share her page. And let me just cue it back up again.
AI advancement, and he mentions a particular year.
Sorry. Oh my goodness. Why did I do that? Here we go.
Behind me is Ray Kurzweil giving a speech recently at MIT regarding AI advancement, and he mentions a particular year at the very end, so make sure that you don't miss that part. But you could take a wild guess.
Many people are worried that we'll have to compete with AI for survival, but artificial intelligence is not an alien invasion. It's evolving from within us. It will reflect our humanity. We're creating it with values, knowledge, beliefs, from the first hominid who picked up a stick to reach a higher branch, to Gemini and GPT-5 today. Our technology is how we extend the reach of our bodies and minds. As we move forward, the lines between humans and technology will blur until we are ultimately one and the same. The amount of computation that took up an entire floor of a building now fits on a smartphone in your pocket, and what now fits in your pocket will fit inside a blood cell, will be far more powerful. This is how we're going to merge with AI. In the 2030s, robots the size of molecules will go into our brains non-invasively through the capillaries and will connect our brains directly to the cloud. Think of it like having a phone, but in your brain. If you ask or just think about a question, your brain will go out to the cloud for an answer, like the way you do on your phone now, only will be instant. There won't be any input or output issues. You won't even realize it's been done. The answer will just appear in your brain like it's part of you. You won't be able to tell the difference between ideas that emerge in your biological brain versus your computational brain. It will be one brain. By 2045, once we have fully merged with AI, our intelligence will no longer be constrained by the size of our skulls. It will expand 1 million-fold. It will be more creative, funny, sexy, compassionate. This is what we call the singularity.
Bam.
Hey everyone, behind me is
That Revelations 13:17, ladies and gentlemen. That's part of the whole mark of the beast. You will not be able to buy or sell. Listen, he said by 2030, molecular level. I don't know if he said nanobots, but it would be non-invasive. It would be able to be. It would connect your brain to the cloud, not literally the cloud, but like the cloud where everything's uploaded to. Has anyone ever watched that show on Netflix? I'm pretty sure it's still on there. It's 2 seasons. It's called Altered Carbon. It's like one of my favorite series, and I think it's based on a book. But spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, not really, because it's part of the premise of the show anyway. But I'll just say, because I don't want to spoil it, because you should go watch it. If you haven't watched Altered Carbon, it's a really good show, sci-fi show, and it's called. So basically, they've eliminated death, right? All right, this is spoiler alert. I apologize, but still go watch it because you don't know where the premise is and all that stuff, and the story is really good. But they've basically eliminated death, right? Like real death. They call it real death. Meaning when you die, you're unable to come back, so on and so forth. So what these people do is that they'll invest in, they call them sleeves, bodies, basically, they clone your body, or you lease a body that isn't your clone, but it's a different body. All they do is basically they take your consciousness and implant it into that body, and so on and so forth. And right before you're about to die, or when the body that you're in, the so-called sleeve that you're in, dies, there's this thing in the back of the brainstem that plugs into the brain, and that records all of your consciousness, your thoughts, everything, memory, whatever, your whole life. And basically what it's doing is it's a hard drive for your brain that uploads into this thing that they actually call it the cloud in Altered Carbon, which is interesting why you see these other technology apparatuses that are being called certain things that's actually showed up in movies, like actual sci-fi movies or whatever. Like Genesis, for instance. There's a Genesis program for artificial intelligence. There's a Skynet in Japan that is revolved around artificial intelligence, and Skynet comes from Terminator. So does the term Genesis, one of the newer movies. I'm not talking about Bible. I'm talking about, although funny thing is, by the Terminator Terminator saga using the term Genesis as part of their artificial intelligence program. It's basically saying like, hey, this is the new creation story. And this is it's so perverted what the devil is behind. I'm telling you, it's wild. It sounds like crazy, crazy talk, right? Crazy talk was going back about 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, talking about like, yeah, they're developing these nanobots, and nanobots are legitimate. They're just small, very like almost microscopic robots. And this stuff is now being powered and programmed behind artificial intelligence, right? There's a scene, I think it's in Genesis, Terminator Genesis. Is it Terminator Genesis? Yes. There's a scene where the so-called they basically revered him as like a prophet, John Connor, right? The whole like majority of the story revolves around John Connor and his mother, Sarah Connor. And John Connor is this character of the Resistance, and he is the reason why he's a prophet is because his mother has been pre-exposed to the future from Kyle Reese that comes back from the comes to the past from the future, because Skynet develops this thing called a time weapon to where they could send back their own, Terminators and basically kill the the so-called resistance leaders, right? And I think in Terminator 3 it actually shows that. Terminator 2 also kind of shows that. Terminator 3, which was wasn't a good one. Wasn't a good version of it anyway. But it basically was kind of detailing that they were taking out different leaders of the resistance and all that stuff. Anyway, John Connor in Terminator Genesis, I think I'm pretty sure. Yes, it is Terminator Genesis, right? I hope I'm getting this right. Because it's not Salvation. Although Terminator Salvation had nothing to do really with that. Hold on, I'm going to Google it really quick because I don't want to get the titles wrong. Terminator Genesis. Yes. So Terminator Genesis. There's a scene where John Connor is Kyle Reese is about to go into the future to go meet John, to get in contact with John Connor's mother, Sarah Connor. But at this particular scene, as Kyle Reese is going into the future in the orb bubble thing, John Connor is being infiltrated by Skynet, and you see one of these, what appears to be a soldier. He's actually he's a machine, but the skin or whatever is all nanotechnology. So he grabs John Connor's face, nanotechnology absorbs him, and basically the nanobots or whatever that is takes over John Connor's cells, his brain, his muscular tissue, his skin, and becomes John Connor. It's a crazy scene. It actually it I don't know. Storyline wise, it kind of messes a lot of things up, but the technology that's being performed in some of these sci-fi movies, especially when you look at movies like The Matrix and Terminator and so on, or iRobot, you see these things actually in some form or way coming to life. Like look at the Tesla bots. Has anyone ever seen the Tesla bots that Elon Musk has? Let me see. They are very reminiscent of iRobot in a way. I wonder if I have a video. Excuse me. It's called Optimus. Here's a video. I'm going to show this on screen real quick. Hold on. So this is from. Is this going to show anything? Yeah. Actually, let's show the, because he had like a seminar or something like that recently, or something along those lines. Let's put this on screen. I don't want to play the whole thing, because I don't want to get flagged. Hold on, y'all. I know that there's got to be. Whatever, I'll just pray it.
Early 2025, Tesla.
Let's try to search through this real quick.
Vision unfolds. Optimus doesn't just work, it becomes part of how civilization runs. This isn't a test run. It's a worker with boots on the ground, just not made of leather. Here's where things get quiet but revolutionary. Underneath that sleek carbon fiber frame, Gen 3 isn't just doing tasks, it's learning you. Elon Musk confirmed, Optimus will build a personal profile over time. Not just what you say, but what you prefer. This isn't rigid code, it's dynamic memory. Personalized habits, micro-adaptations baked into daily life. It doesn't just automate, it acclimates. It becomes a little more yours every day. It's not just artificial intelligence anymore. It's personal intelligence tailored to you. But the evolution isn't only technical, it's emotional. Optimus doesn't feel, but it's learning to mirror human interaction. It'll match your tone when you speak, adjust its posture if it senses you're stressed. It won't just talk, it'll speak how you like to be spoken to. It's not emotional by nature, but it's social by design. And in a world where isolation is common, that kind of presence, it doesn't feel eerie. It feels welcoming. You don't need a robot to feel.
So yeah, look, that's what we are in. We're not heading into it. We're in it. All right. There's more. There's more. Check this out. I'm gonna pull this on screen, because now that's Elon Musk, Tesla, DARPA has their own version of robots, and I believe Google has developed something similar to that. China and Japan has their own. There's a few places in Europe. This is where we are. We're in the age of man, like literally man versus machine. Shout outs to Jay Chattel. Thank you for tuning in, brother. My brother in Christ right there. Oh, Christine, I just saw that message. I don't know. It's possible. Let's see. I don't know if it'll if it would link. I don't want to. That's a good question. I'm gonna go. Hold on, because I don't want to get sidetracked, but I'll go to her page really quickly. She is live. I don't know why. Sorry, it's not showing her page though. You can only hear her. There might be something up with that. I'll check back in a second. So it gets worse or better to some people. But Christine, if you're still watching, remember that video I think you showed me? I might have to go to the inbox really quickly, because I can't find that video, and although I found something similar. No. Oh yeah, this is all about. Where's that video? I know you sent it to me. You sent me something. I think was it on Facebook? Nope, that's not it. Where is that? Or did I? Oh, maybe I post it actually, and then you responded to it. I think. All right, it's fine. I'm gonna just pull this one up because this is kind of crazy. So it gets worse because the police also, obviously, and the army have their versions of military combat versions of robots. Check this out.
New at 5, a SWAT team in Los Angeles used a robotic dog to end a standoff early this morning. It started about 4 a.m. on a metro bus. A passenger noticed the suspect in this case was sleeping on the bus with a gun under his seat. Well, the passengers and the bus driver evacuated the vehicle. Police then deployed the robotic dog.
Look at that thing.
Which boarded the bus and retrieved the gun. The suspect eventually then stepped off the bus and surrendered. There was no one hurt.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fake video right there, but that is here's another one. Let's go to this one.
Boston Dynamics.
Oh yeah, Boston Dynamics, huh? Boston Dynamics is also a military
There he's back.
robotics corporation. Just like DARPA, just like Raytheon. Did we freeze? What happened? Did it just freeze? Come on. Apologize about this, y'all. Hold on a second. Let me
There he is. He's live.
look at that thing, man. This is where we are. They're using robots.
Hey, check this out. Check it out. Check it out. He's going to open the door.
And from my understanding, this isn't being operated by a human being. It's operated solely by artificial intelligence. So like back in the day, before artificial intelligence was artificial intelligence as it is today, someone from a police van or whatever was remote controlling, the robot and the little tank thing, whatever they had. This thing that we're seeing on the screen in a moment, again, no one's doing that. No one. They're monitoring it through a screen, I imagine, but no one's remotely controlling it. It's artificial intelligence, meaning it knows to open that door. What else does it know? How does it know to open that door? This is where we are.
Amazing.
So it's like scanning the door. The way that it's moving though, it looks fake. Almost CGI like. But
Can't get it. Locked.
no way. That thing could probably just kick that thing right open. Look how it moves. The police and military do have capability of technologies that can actually look through walls. And the suspicion of how they're able to do that is actually by utilizing Wi-Fi, 5G, because of the frequency that it bounces off of, the walls. It can basically see you through a sort of frequency. It's hard to explain because I would have to bring up that article and all that stuff. I don't know if I have enough time to get too far into that. I'll have to do. Wow, just open the door. Oh man, what a time to be alive. Now, what is it going to do? Is it going to wrestle the like, what does the robot do? Does it hit him? Does it shoot him? That's the thing, man. This is this is the world. I'm telling you, we're living in it. We're in the future. This isn't the future. We're in the future. Before, you could go back a few years ago, 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, people would say like, no, artificial intelligence is never going to get to a point of degree where it's going to be actually taking charge for the most part, handling certain high stress situations like that. We're in it. People were saying like, oh, that's probably in the future. Well, probably became the future. We are in the future now. And then you have like humanoid types, like iRobot types. You guys seen the one that can run and do flips? Let's check that one out, because this one's wild. And this isn't actually, this one's from 4 years ago. I probably showed this on here before. Let me pull this up again. This isn't CGI. That's an actual robot. Bro. Awesome dynamics. That's what we just saw in the earlier video with the police dog. The robot dog opening doors. We're in it. We're here. Boston Dynamics is from 2 years ago.
Forgot my tools again. Such a show off.
Now just imagine those with plasma rifles. Rocket launchers, missile launchers. They'll basically start to look like this. This isn't being hyperbolic either. You know that these things get developed for weaponry. Look, they're creating the ghost in the machine. These suits are going to be made. Those machines are going to be for. Oh, man. What a time to be alive. And I'm not putting all of this together to like scare people. Like, this is just something to be aware of and be prepared for. It's all part of prophecy. Read the book of Daniel, read Jeremiah, read Revelations. It's all in there. I think the book of Daniel talks about a statue that's built and the statue becomes life. They didn't have a word for robot. They didn't have a particular word for computer or artificial intelligence. So Daniel describes a statue that comes to life. And if you put it in context of what he's trying to say, what he means is that this is a robot, and this is what we have, which is basically a statue, because it has no life, but comes to life because it's given artificial life. And that's essentially what's happening here. We're giving so artificial intelligence becoming artificial life eventually. It's, there's already self-organizing robots. There's already 3D printing organs and or meat, flesh, basically, quite literally silicone. I mean, this is it's sci-fi in real life. This is where we are. We're living in the future right now, currently, and there's so many things behind it. Palantirs, the whole Palantir stuff is behind that. The whole surveillance system is behind that. Trump supports stuff like that. Also, by the way, whether you're a conservative or a Democrat or whatever, the whole two-party system stuff needs to end. Like the ideology behind it all needs to. It's man, the Truther movement has been telling you all for so many years, that so many decades, that the ideology behind Democrat and Republican the two-party system has been a fault line of nightmare because it's a source of great division. I mean, look at us now currently. It's a source of extreme division. We can't, and so much division that we can't get beyond the smoke screen of all of the surface area stuff, like Trump being possibly, not even possibly, involved with the Epstein stuff. And now now it's coming out. Now it's been ordered. I think it's been voted on where it's now okay. But Trump criticizing other Republicans, or not even just other Republicans, just people, politicians in general that are in favor of getting this stuff out there. For instance, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has been a significant supporter of Trump, and Trump being a supporter of her also. But once she ended up going against or being in favor of getting the Epstein files out, now she's a person of, now she's just a kook. She's just a person of, that is insignificant. And anybody else that's been kept bringing it up, he was like, I have nothing to do with this, blah, blah, blah. And then let's not forget to go back a little ways where Pam Bondi was like, yeah, we have 10,000 or thousands and thousands of videos recovered about victims. Kash Patel also saying that they have numerous amounts of information within the Epstein files, and then coming out months later after that saying like, Epstein actually did unalive himself, or there's not enough information, or there are no Epstein files. They were saying that there were Epstein files, then there were no Epstein files. And then they went back and said, there's no Epstein files, and now there's Epstein files. So either they were taking their time to go through everything and redacting, tons of information. We're not going to get any solid names. But there's also out there where supposedly the list has already been released. The black book of Epstein, the flight log, has already been released. But because CNN doesn't say so, or Fox News doesn't say so, or any of the major medias don't say so, people are like, oh yeah, that's just fake news. Because Trump said so. Trump was for it and then against it, and then has stayed against it. He's still against it. So, come on. What does that tell you? That there is some inclination of involvement. There has to be. Like, it's Trump playing 3D chess. No. He's not playing any type of 3D chess. He's playing along. He's certainly playing along. So is Netanyahu. So is everybody. So is every other politician globally. So are the Saudis. So is Iran. So is Canada. So is Australia. So is Germany, France, and Italy. So is the UK. They're all playing along. They're all in bed with each other. I don't know why anyone's surprised about that. If you're surprised about that, then you just haven't been paying attention. Ever. You're just caught up between this whole Democratic, Republican, conservative, and liberal BS. And don't get me wrong, liberals are a effing mess. And I can't say that enough about that, because they're out of their minds about this whole gender identity stuff, inclusivity stuff, and the conservatives are completely out of their minds and in denial about the Republican Party, specifically Trump, about being and having involvement with the whole Epstein case. I don't understand I don't even understand why that's hard to believe. Like, he's just ramped up as this savior figure. You know what I'm saying? And he's clearly not. Listen, the food, gas, rent, mortgage, taxes, it's all going up. Has it come down? It's been going up since COVID. It's never dropped. It's never come down. It only comes down during the election time. It's never come down. And then also changing the name to the Department of War. These are all indicators of something big is about to happen. We're on, the whole it all ties together. And I know this is like, try and follow along if you can. So I apologize if I'm just pulling everything from out of there, because I'm a little bit on time right now. But NASA revealing stuff about the comet, 3i Atlas. Not even just NASA. Like, forget NASA. NASA, we know we don't get a straight answer from them. Never a straight answer. That's what NASA stands for. Never a straight answer. But we don't get a straight answer from them. We don't get a straight answer from SpaceX. We're getting good answers from independent astronomers. There's a lot out there. There's quite a bit out there. But they're hyping this thing up as to be some sort of so-called alien invasion type thing, or insinuating that that's what's occurring. And if we go back quite a few years, I think about 12 years ago, the last card. Oh. We will, yeah, here it is. I think this is it. This was part of, I think her name's Dr. Carol Rosen. And she was Werner von Braun. Werner von Braun is I believe was a Nazi scientist. I don't want to get that wrong. Hold on. Is that him? Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. Werner, German-American aerospace engineer. Yeah. So when he was younger, Werner von Braun worked in Nazi Germany's rocket development program. America, took him in. And then he became part of NASA. So and then he helped America develop other technologies and stuff like that. So Dr. Carol Rosen, I guess, followed along to him, not was a Nazi, but documented some of his last, basically his last words, his last confessions. I'll play the video right now. Hold on. Because it ties in with the whole 3i Atlas, artificial intelligence, alien stuff. I don't think she specifically mentions artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence and robotics is going to be a big deal when this whole thing starts to develop. And I mean, we're like right there. It's just, if you can't see it, I don't know. But this, I believe it says, well, this video says 2023, but I believe this was like 2012 or early 2000s when this the actual recording of this video. Let's play it.
1974, after being a sixth grade school teacher, I was introduced to the late Dr. Werner von Braun in the U.S., the father of rocketry. In my first meeting with him, during that first 3.5 hours, he said to me, "Carol, you will stop the weaponization of space." And I said, teachers don't stop until June. He said, "No, you have to understand. This is February, and we have to prevent the weaponization of space because there is a lie being told to everyone that the weaponization of space is now first being based upon the evil empire, the Russians. There are many enemies," he said, "against whom we're going to build this space-based weapon system, the first of whom was the Russians, which was existing at that time. Then there would be terrorists. Then there would be third world countries. Now we call them rogue nations or nations of concern. Then there would be asteroids." And then he would repeat to me over and over, And the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat. Well, at the time, I kind of laughed when he said asteroids, and when he said extraterrestrials, I knew I wasn't going to deal with that subject. And now we hear on the news just today, this week, that they've slid in another enemy. Only this time we're going to protect our satellites. In other words, we have to have some reason to spend these trillions, to waste these dollars on a space-based weapon system, and they're all lies. This is a system, he told me, that would never protect anyone. Even back then, he talked about suitcase bombs. He talked about chemical, viral, bacterial, biological warfare that these space-based weapons would never protect us against. And then he told me that, in fact, if you travel around the world, which I did after he died in 1977, I met with people in over 100 countries who were friends. They didn't want to build space-based weapons. I became
Yeah. That video ended abruptly. Sorry about that. So it didn't even get. Did it get to? It didn't even get to the last card. What?
weapon system, and they're all. And the last, there are many enemies. And he would reap nations of concern. Third world countries. Now we call them rogue nations or nations of concern. Then there would be asteroids, and then he would repeat to me over and over. And the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat.
Yeah. So this has been a plan for a really long time. To get artificial intelligence, artificial life, robotics, and if anyone out there, you're familiar with the Project Bluebeam, space-based weapons, and then digital ID. That's digital ID, basically plugging in the human body into a digital robotic system, becoming man to machine. And if they're successful at doing that, what will happen is that the machine portion of the human body would be completely controlled, whereas you wouldn't have any autonomy or anything like that. Your thoughts are their thoughts, basically. Especially if that stuff is able to somehow intervene with your brain process and all that stuff. And I'm sure a lot of it already does, based on 5G, based on the frequencies. They have sound weapons. They have everything. I mean, all of their technology is like, we haven't seen anything yet, to be honest with you. Like, what the stuff that we are able to see, the stuff that we are shown, is just stuff that they're comfortable with putting out there. And that stuff they probably already have had for at least 50 years or so in advance. And we're just seeing the beginning stages of what they were already at. So what we're seeing right now is nothing compared to what they have. And they, meaning the military industrial technological complex. Yeah, so look, I thank everybody for tuning into The True Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. I know I started this stream basically about an hour early than it was scheduled. I'm just on a time constraint. The next show should be Friday. Be on the lookout. There, I do have shows coming up Monday, and I have some more shows coming up. I've had some conversation with a lot of people that I got to get on here, in the background that I've been talking to, and I'm trying to do a also testimony episode. I've talked about that before in the past, on this show, where I wanted to get biblical, testimonies. And if that's you, inbox me. I'm trying to create a series or a type of interview process where I'll have multiple people on in synchronization, basically, and we could talk about that and get people's perspective on their spiritual belief. You don't necessarily have to come on here being a follower of Christ, necessarily. I'm just really curious as to how people are obtaining their spirituality to God. And, I'd like to discuss that. Because I have questions also, but I also want to hear stories. I want to hear, the development process of how that goes. Because I have my own also. I haven't even really dove in and talked about it yet, but we'll do that. I thank everybody for tuning into The True Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble, all over X, all over Rumble, all over YouTube, all over Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Follow The TRU Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble, and go to the Instagram page, to the True Norseman Crafts Instagram page, also on Facebook as well. True Norseman Crafts, TRU Norseman Crafts. Buy a drinking horn. Make an order. Light some fire under me so I can get that running and get that promoted and get some early Christmas gifts or just early gifts in general for anybody, men, women, and there'll be more stuff also in the future. I actually still have them right now, but is handheld ham radios, alternative ways of communicating in case the grid ever goes down. There's debate on whether or not that would even be worth doing it. I think there is. I think it'll have a purpose in the future, in the very, very soon future. So hit me up if you're interested in getting yourself a ham radio. I'll teach you how to use the basics of it, and I'll explain what it means to have a ham radio: GMRS, FRS, MURS. I have a license for it. And I did it so I could get knowledgeable on it and all that stuff. But yeah, hit me up about that. And if you are and you do like this content, the most important thing that you can do that will be really helpful is to just like, share, and subscribe to it. Just share it. Tell everybody about it. Get it out there. And if you are feeling generous and you would like to donate to the channel, buy me a coffee, buy me a beer, buy me a Bible. I got plenty, but I'll take more. You could send your donations to $, True Norseman Crafts, $, TRU Norseman Crafts, or PayPal, True Norseman Crafts at Gmail. I'm sorry. Yes, True Norseman Crafts at Gmail, True Norseman Crafts at gmail.com, PayPal, or you just use True Norseman Crafts, I believe. I think that's it. Cash App is also helpful. I'm also on Venmo as well. $, True Norseman Crafts. Any and all donations go through there. Any and all orders go through there so far. I haven't gotten an actual, subscriber link yet. I'm working on that, so bear with me. And I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I hope keep me and my family in your prayers. We will also keep y'all in our prayers as well. And thank you for tuning in. I appreciate y'all once again to The True Perspective, tuning in on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. Thank y'all. I love y'all. Peace. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say it.
Trying to free your mind, it is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling.
I can only show you the door.
To awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
That is
The train can't be stopped. It's already here.